Simply speaking, the voltages here are going to be divided in the same proportion as the resistances here. So V1 over V2 would be equal to R1 over R2. Okay? V1 over V2 would be equal to R1 over R2. V1 over V would be equal to R1 over R1 plus R2. So V1 over V equals R1 over R1 plus R2. So all the students have to remember is that the voltages here are going to be divided in the same proportion as the resistances here. Okay? And this kind of circuit is called a potential divider. Now, sometimes in a potential divider circuit, you can have for various kind of uses, you will have a sensor placed in one of these resistances. For example, instead of a normal resistor here, you could have a light dependent resistor. So the symbol for a light dependent resistor is like this. You have a resistor and two arrows like this. This is the symbol for a light dependent resistor. What happens here is when there is no light, the light dependent resistor will have a very high resistance across it. When that happens, the resistance across the voltage across R1 is pretty much minimal, right? When light falls on this, the resistance of the LDR drops, V2 will drop as well, and therefore V1 will increase. Okay? So that's how this kind of a circuit works. There might be exam questions which have potential divider circuits with a light dependent resistor. Sometimes they might have a thermistor, so the student should be familiar with the characteristics of a thermistor. What happens in a thermistor is that when it's opposite of a filament lamp, when the temperature increases, the resistance actually decreases. So that's pretty much it for 5.2. After this, 5.2.8 would be solving some problems involving electric circuits. There's a good example here which actually combines a lot of the features of whatever we've talked about. So the student should be able to figure this out, and as much practice would be beneficial for them. More practice would be beneficial. One last note, let the students be familiar. They should be familiar with this, but on page 14 there are a few circuit components and their symbols. So the students should definitely be comfortable with and familiar with most of these symbols. So yeah, that pretty much covers electric currents.